Hey guys, I'm Luke with Rossmönster. I want to show you a really cool build we have coming out of the shop here. This van was built on a Sprinter 144 4x4 chassis. There's some really cool exterior components that we'll talk about here in a second. We really have some cool components on the inside. A little backstory on this project: we worked with our clients, Brian and Aaron, as well as their friends who are architects that they looped in on this project, Mike and Jose at Notch Design. So we'll kind of be talking about all four of the players here as we walk through the van, but let's hop inside and we'll show you some of the features that we have going here. Okay, so as we step into this van, we immediately step into the kitchen area. Key part of the design of this van was to have two separate zones, a living and bed area in the back and a kitchen zone in the front. This was important from the very inception of the design. As we look at some of the design features in the kitchen area, we've got gray painted cabinets with a white ceiling. We have a very consistent fluid Corian countertop in the backsplash with a waterfall down the front of the driver's side, as well as Corian countertops on this side with a flip up countertop. It was very important to maintain very clean, modern lines throughout the van, and using very sleek materials was an important part of all the decisions for all the materials in the van, especially in the kitchen here. So looking at some of the appliances in their kitchen here, we've got this Dometic 2-burner induction cooktop. This is going to be really nice as they cook food. It's nice to have two burners. People are always torn between one burner or two. Since they've got a 3,000 watt inverter and a rather large battery bank, this 2-burner setup is going to be just fine for them. And immediately under the induction stove is their fridge. This is a DC isotherm fridge. There's a small freezer at the top, and this is a great size for anybody who is living in their van full time, or going on longer weekend to week-long trips. You really can't go wrong with this size of fridge. As we move over to the passenger side, something I forgot to mention earlier, you will notice that this is at a shorter height. So Aaron is a bit shorter and actually prefers to work at a lower height. And so this cabinet, like all of the cabinets, was custom made to their spec, but you'll notice that it is a bit shorter. Again, it features this Corian countertop with an undermount sink. We don't do a ton of undermount sinks because you typically don't want to undermount a sink in a wood countertop, but in this solid surface Corian, we have the flexibility to do that. We've got this flip up countertop. This extends up, really allows us to utilize all the space into the sliding door, which is a really nice way to make this space multifunctional. And then when you're ready to get out of the van, you just drop this guy back down and you can enter and exit the vehicle comfortably. At the back of this side, we've got a drawer bank here. All these push button pulls are going to keep things securely away, and 3 nice deep drawers there, and then gray water is under the sink. Moving back to the driver's side, here is their bathroom. So this toilet is on 500-pound locking slides. It slides out into the aisleway. This is a Nature's Head composting toilet. So this is going to separate solid and liquid waste. And the advantage of composting toilets is with it separating the solid and liquid waste, you can go a long period of time without having to dump your solid waste. And then the liquid waste, which is just this pee bucket here, is very easy to dump. There's less restriction on where you can dump that. Obviously, still be respectful and responsible where you're camping. And so they've got this portable, or not portable, but flexible bathroom solution. When you're done going to the bathroom, you simply just release the locks and that slides away. And we have not dedicated any floor to ceiling space to have a bathroom, yet they still have that flexibility and function to have the bathroom in the van. As we look at some of the features along the driver's side wall, we've got push button pulls and nice large uppers here. These are bigger than traditional uppers. There's removable shelves in here, so they'll be able to adjust this and pack according to their belongings. As we step back to this set of uppers, you've got more storage on the right here, and then we have their communications cabinet on the left. All of their lighting zones are controlled here. Dimmable zones, all the different lighting zones are here on the touch screen, as well as tank monitoring and other control of your 12-volt systems. This controller is also Bluetooth enabled, so as they're laying in bed or outside the van. They can turn on their awning lights or adjust things from their smartphones. Other components that are controlled here, we've got our battery monitor, our Rixen control, which is going to be their heat and hot water in the vehicle, as well as some other equipment at the bottom. They've got a couple different cellular extending technologies in here. We've got a Weboost. We have a MIMO antenna, which allows you to put SIM cards from multiple carriers and essentially knit together the best service from each, as well as this HughesNet satellite, which has an antenna on the roof, as well as this portable unit. So really, no matter where their adventures take them in this rig, they're going to be able to have, really good connectivity on all of their adventures. As we step further to the back, we step into what is the living, sleeping, hangout area. This is a really integral part of the design. Some cool features. You'll notice that we have this monolithic white oak wood look. So everything is wrapped in this wood paneling. As we worked with the guys at Notch Design, it was really important to incorporate this, wood grain and make this a really natural, homey feel for Brian and Aaron as they live in this van. You'll notice on the passenger side here, this is a more narrow bench. They are going to use this to eat and be able to eat face to face, but this is not going to be the primary place of sitting. This whole dinette area was designed around the comfort of the driver's side. So we've got a really nice deep bench here with this backrest. They're going to be able to kick their feet up. My shoes are a little muddy, so I'm not going to kick my feet up onto their cushions here, but this was designed, really around their comfort and the ergonomics of their sitting positions. And then they'll have their table here on the Lagoon mounting system for when they're working and eating. And then this converts into their bed. One cool feature of this, Aaron is a bit shorter than Brian. So on this side, we ran the bed up underneath the countertop to give Brian his full 80 inches of sleeping here, which is a really cool way to extend this sleeping area without eating into the kitchen area too much. So a really cool multifunctional use of space that the guys at Notch and us have come up with to accommodate that. Another key feature as we look around and hang out in this living area are the window trim. You'll notice that we've got a really square, kind of boxy design here. This is a part of the modern, sleek aesthetic that we're going for in the van. These are oval windows that have been trimmed out to look square to give this the feel that they were looking for. Another thing that you'll notice, and maybe as we look in from the back, it'll be more obvious, but we have shimmed out the walls. So it was really important from the beginning of their design that this was a very angular space. So all the way to this height of 54 inches, we've come up and shimmed out the walls to make sure that this is a very square and angular space. At the end, it came together really, really nicely. So we'll quickly run through the systems in the van. In the back, they've got an AC unit. In this van, they have 540 amp hours of AGM battery. That is a really nice large battery bank. However, it's not going to be enough to run this AC unit all night long. So when they're in hotter climates, they're going to want to hook up to shore power or a portable generator to run this AC unit through the night. Their primary mode of ventilation is going to be the Maxair fan, which is located at the front. That, coupled with these half slide windows in the back, is going to really create some nice airflow for them and keep the van comfortable in more temperate climates. Again, to run through some of the other systems, the other side of heating and cooling is the heating. We've got the Rixen heating system in here, so that's going to draw off of the diesel fuel tank and create heat and hot water on demand for them. And again, that's controlled with their thermostat right here. And the air comes out of these vents down here in a nice central location. As we step back out of the van, we'll talk about some of the features on the exterior. In this transition space, in the sliding door, we have this fold down countertop. The back is faced with matching painted gray, same as the cabinets. And then as this flips down, we've got a big Corian work surface here. So this really continues to tie everything that we saw inside the van together. This is going to be great for apps, drinks, hanging out in the evenings. And again, this is Corian, so they'll be able to cook and prep and clean this really easily. As we take a step back, looking at some of the other features on the exterior of this van, we have the Aluminess touring style roof rack. with the Fiamma F45S awning. That's going to come off the side on the passenger side here and create a really nice outdoor living space. Other features on the roof, we talked about some of that communication equipment on the inside. We've got different antennas and cell extenders up there, as well as 200 watts of solar. And then you've got your fans and AC front and rear. With one important feature, they really wanted to be able to sit on the front of the rack, so they'll be able to hang their feet off the front. They've each got a little space to sit up there and enjoy the view from the top. As we move around the front of the van here, we've got this Aluminess front bumper with the brush guards. This is going to be really nice for protecting your front end should you ever hit anything. You've got the hella fog lights in the bumper, as well as this 12,000-pound Warn winch. This winch has a synthetic line on it, so it's going to be really easy to use should you need to use it in any kind of sticky situations. As we move around the driver's side of the van, you'll notice the Aluminess Nerf bars, as well as the ladder to access that roof rack. We've also got upgraded tires on here, the BF Goodrich KO2s, as well as the Agile Off-Road Rip Kit. That replaces the suspension front and rear and really does a lot for the ride quality of this van. As we move to the rear of the van, we've got a pretty cool feature here. This is a table that we make in-house. This is both an exterior table as well as a MAXTRAX mount. So just like the MAXTRAX that you guys are comfortable with, it's got this pin system. So all you do is you twist these, you pull your MAXTRAX out if you need to use them, and then to use this as a table, you release these two pins, and this folds down. This is great for prepping any kind of gear, making lunch, apps, drinks, whatever you want to do back here, and then this simply folds back up and locks into place. You got both the table and your MAXTRAX mounts, which is a pretty nice thing to have on the van here. Thanks for checking out our latest van tour, you guys. Please feel free to follow along. These guys are embarking on an amazing adventure. They are Brian and Aaron, at Brian and Aaron on Instagram, as well as go ahead and check out Mike and Jose at Notch Design. They've got some really cool work, as well as please subscribe to our YouTube channel or check us out on Instagram. As always, thank you guys. Cool. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Brian.
Aaron and I decided to move from our apartment in San Francisco into a van in 2020. We researched, found Rossmönster, started working with Luke and the team to design this van.
I guess elaborate a little bit more on what the motivation behind moving into a van full time.
There's two key drivers of why we wanted to move into a van. First is see more of our country. With all the remote working going on, now it's like, why be tied down to one city? We had the opportunity to take ourselves to all these places we've never seen. And then second, we've been thinking about reducing stuff, living a more minimal life, and when we designed this van, making it a forcing function for minimalism was part of what drove us to want to jump in a van.
Tell us a little bit about kind of your, I've talked about the design intent and the process, but in your words, kind of tell us about the important pieces to you and the pieces that are particularly special about the build.
Yeah, I think we had minimalism as one of the design values. We wanted to ensure we were getting by with less stuff. We wanted to make the van a home. So we're going to be living in it full time. And one of our key philosophies was, let's try to make it as much as a home and as little as van as is reasonably and physically possible. And I think both Notch and Rossmönster did a good job of compromising where we had to just for practicality, but overall the aesthetic makes it feel very much like a home. We have two rooms, we have the bedroom, dinette area, clearly ensconced in wood. And then we have the kitchen area, which looks really functional and clean. Overall, we're also looking for a modern aesthetic, which I think we achieved with a lot of the lines and materials we used in the van.
What part of the build process was the most interesting, enjoyable, noteworthy to you?
Well, I think for people who haven't gone through the process with Rossmönster, like the most enjoyable is the amount of communication in the process. In the build itself, that means daily updates on what's being accomplished with the van. So you kind of see Rossmönster giving birth to this thing you've been talking about. Even before the build itself began, though, There are a lot of conversations and a lot of decisions that Luke was very, or you were very helpful with um, thinking through. So posing problems, coming up with solutions. Um, you watch the videos and they're a few minutes. We've been working on this van for months before Rossmönster even took it to start building something in it.
Just kind of tell us about what you're going to do as you get started. We've kind of mentioned that you guys have an Instagram account and
Yeah, so definitely,
talk about your adventure that you're embarking on.
yeah, we definitely want to share what we're doing in our initial experience in van life with everybody. So we've already posted for our friends an Instagram account at Aaron and Brian, and we'll be posting how we're living in the van, what we're seeing as we tour the country. So we're going to leave Colorado shortly, head down to New Mexico, and then get into Texas, and from there, kind of just dynamically navigate where we're going to end up next.
Cool. Anything else that you want to add?
No, well, so I want to give a really big thanks to Luke and the entire team here at Rossmönster. As we were driving over, I was thinking, oh, too bad we don't have this giant picture of the entire team celebrating the van. We have lots of pictures of them working on the van, but a great appreciation for the experience that Rossmönster provided from the initial conversations, thinking maybe we'll do this through the design of the van, and finally with the build of the van. We have some pictures of how it was spec'd out to look, and it's really amazing to be in the van and see it match so well the design we were looking at as we were talking about things. So Luke, thanks so much for all you've done to bring this together. I'm really impressed with the number of questions you fielded. I never found a question that you were unable to find an answer to, and I really appreciated that commitment.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.